Hello, how's it going, everyone? It's JJ from Bright Idea Records at brightidearecords.com. Boy, it sure is easy to start a video these days, isn't it? I just take a USB cable and like jack. I use the input slot on the computer on the main board, and you know I don't even have to double click anymore. It's basically like a single click. If you count the start button as one click and then the app is another click, it's not even a double click really. Um, Sorry. I was how do you say? I was dozing off a bit ago and I thought I was gonna crash, but I'm not gonna name names. I'm not here to snitch anybody, narc anybody, or otherwise throw anybody under the bus. But you know who you are. Fucking, I got like several times. Like, if you get disturbed once, you can probably go back to sleep, right? If it's like over and over again, probably not gonna fall back to sleep again. I digress. Now you have context, alright? Isn't that nice? Where was I? Oh, yeah, so I was like basically babbling to myself, like laying here like it's blah 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 blah, to myself. And I noticed a lot of it had to do with like social circumstance and like I don't know if you'd say like resentment or maybe perhaps regret. Nah, it's neither of those really. It's maybe foresight. See, but with foresight, you think I'm gonna have something like poignant to say, right? Like advice. I don't even know if I have any of that. But it's basically like I was basically bitching. I was just bitching about how you know how shitty other people make life sometimes. Like, and that's not normally what I do when I'm falling asleep. My old man, he used to tell me, like back when I was a school child and I had to maintain a schedule and like get to school in the morning, he would tell me, son, if you ever have a difficult time sleeping, and maintaining your schedule, just remember when you lay down and turn out the lights and put your head on the pillow to think of nice music. Just think of really good notes and really good music. And, not too up tempo because that'll probably keep you up. But, just think of nice music and you'll fall asleep naturally. And he was pretty spot on. Granted, of course, if you get disturbed, not even nice notes in your mind are gonna like help you go back to sleep. All right, so yeah, thinking disturbing thoughts while I'm laying here is the last thing I want to do. I figured I could turn on a camera and a microphone and share them with you. 'Cause I'm a nice guy like that. I like to share my disturbing thoughts. Some people appreciate them. I mean, like horror movies, that's a thing. Okay? What else? Like the profession of a professional therapist, someone you talk to about your disturbing thoughts. There are actual people in this world that aren't therapists yet. They're like contemplating it as like a discipline, going to school and learning about it, but they're not there yet. So they might appreciate hearing my disturbing thoughts, right? Aside from that, there's all kinds of weird comedians out there that could probably twist it into something really funny, like a storyline, or I don't know. People with a more active imagination than mine. I have a pretty good imagination, but it's mostly with like sounds, if you will. Like, it's kind of why I play music and don't write screenplays. Okay? The same. There's a reason for that. I digress. Uh, I think I was dwelling upon not opening my mouth when I was younger, because like in social situations, I think I would get scared. I would piss people off, and then I'd have a gang of people against me, which has happened to me before, believe it or not. But I don't care. These days, there's nothing anybody could do to hurt me. Like I've been beaten up. I've been really like I've been. You can call me names. Sticks and stones will break my bones, and words will never hurt me. Guess what? Sticks, stones, fists, words, fucking charges, like accusations. Just about anything can hurt you, believe it or not. That Sticks and Stones song is actually not true. Like, words, accusations, perhaps eyewitness accounts of a libelous or otherwise slanderous nature, like a conspiracy, if you will, that can hurt you. And you're just gonna be like, huh? You're not talk. They're not talking about me. I didn't do that. What do you mean they're saying I did that? I didn't fucking do that. Don't listen to them. That's not true. Oh, you've already made up your mind. It's true. It happens sometimes, believe it or not. These days, it's less likely because there's like so many Orwellian recording devices that we're surrounded by. Like, I used to kind of be anti Big Brother. Like, back at the infancy of reality TV. Like, right around Y2K, really. There was a lot of things to fear about technology back then, like 25 years ago. And the whole Orwellian surveillance Big Brother aspect of it all was, yes, something to fear. And, enough bad shit happened. I started to say, you know what? I wish there was a camera recording right now. And if that happens enough times, you'll get over your fear of Big Brother. And you'll actually welcome Big Brother into your life. I think a lot of you have. And that's cool. I know there's like a big privacy movement, like a social kind of civil kind of movement happening, like with regards to the internet and, whether it be like obfuscating your origin or like maybe just covering your tracks or perhaps maybe just not being identifiable in any particular way whatsoever. You know, I think that's actually healthy. I don't think that's trying to avoid Big Brother. I think that's actually what people should have been trying to do all this time. Just think about it. How are you going to have secure bank transactions if you don't have, like, some level of, like, anonymity and security? Like, if every time you make a bank transaction, it can be tracked publicly, like, if it's unencrypted, that's not, that's not going to make me want a bank, right? And what about every other form of communication or transaction for that matter? Exactly. So that's not escaping Big Brother's all-seeing eye. That's merely trying to have a functional society where you don't feel like you're under a microscope. There's a difference. When you go out in public, you're not under a microscope. You're out in public. There's a difference. So, at any rate, yeah, when I was a kid, sometimes I'd see fucked up shit happening in front of me. And I like wanted to say, "Hey, stop that! That's not cool." Or like maybe like, "Hey, that's not a good idea. Something. Look, you really should think twice." Or like, maybe something like, actually, there's a better way to go about that, and I know what it is if you're willing to listen. Depending on the circumstances. So what? It's like I say, sometimes you're afraid there'll be some kind of retribution, or like maybe you're just not that popular, or you don't know the people that you're around that well, and you're kind of just shy, you know? If you can believe that. There's a big difference between getting in front of a camera and speaking to no one, like as if you're not shy, than like actually being in front of people. There is a big difference. And there's a big difference between getting up on a stage and doing stuff in front of people, even though there's people there, and maybe you might be comfortable with that. But as soon as you get off the stage and the show's over, you might actually be really uncomfortable with that. Like, because there's a lot of there's a lot of things to be unsure about. Was my performance any good? Are these people making fun of me behind my back? Can I be friendly with these people, or in fact, do they all hate me and think I'm not talented at all? Shit like that, right? Insecurity? Well, if nobody says anything like, "You fucking killed it! You're awesome!" Right? If you don't hear that immediately, you're probably not going to be too sure of yourself. Just saying. I mean, unless you know you're awesome, unless you rehearsed like a motherfucker and you're just like so on point, and you recorded it with your smartphone and you're like listening to it and you're like, "God damn, I killed it tonight." In which case, good for you. Uh, Back in the Y2K and 90s era, that was kind of a luxury. I digress. So, I think when I started drinking alcohol, I learned how to be a loudmouth, big mouth, fucking blabbity blab. I'll say what I'll say. You can't stop me. I do what I want. Or something like that. You know, to sum it up, nice and simple. And I decided that all those, like, times when I, like, should have said something and now I regretted them, like, I decided I was never going to let that happen ever again. I'm just gonna open my mouth. If I really feel strongly about it, like I need to say something, no matter how drunk I am, I'm gonna say something. I'm not gonna go on at length, or at least I'll try to avoid that, but I can't make any promises. Alright? You know? This is a free country, I suppose, and freedom of speech is kind of one of those things that makes it free, but, um, some people really don't like it, man. I think those people are usually bullies, and they're just using it as an excuse to like bully you. But they're gonna try to brainwash you into thinking that you're fucked up, that you're screwed up, that you need to shut your mouth. And it's like, oh really? Is that how that works? Yeah. I've been like, I've been I've been punched in the face, sucker punched plenty of times. A lot of the times it's a misunderstanding. Like somebody thinks I said something, and I mean, maybe I did say it, but it's been taken out of context. Like perhaps it's maybe I'm quoting somebody. Maybe I'm quoting a bad experience that happened to me, and they're taking it like as if I'm literally saying what I'm saying. And it's like, no, this is actually what was said to me. And then I get punched in the face. Yeah, that's really fair. That's like a double whammy of bad things. What else? What else? Then there's like the actual legitimate misunderstanding, like where if I say like my stupid guitar player, that guy's a piece of work. I hate that guy because we had a weird misunderstanding at a gig or something, and somebody thinks instead of my stupid guitar player, they think I said like that stupid Mexican or something. Like literally completely wrong. That does happen, especially if you're at a place where there's loud music and people's ears are ringing and like yeah, if you're trying to talk loud or whatever cuz everybody's ears are ringing and including your own and henceforth, you know, you're bound to get misunderstood if you open your mouth enough, trust me. That kind of sucks. But whatever. Misunderstandings are misunderstandings, right? For the most part, yeah. A misunderstanding is a misunderstanding. That's all that it is. But when somebody's actually saying, hey, you talk too much. You need to stop. No, you're really just getting on my nerves. You blah, 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 blah. I'm talking about my band. I'm the bass player. I'm over at my guitar player's house. Like, what about it? I'm not allowed to talk about my band at my guitar player's house. No, you're really just going on and on about stupid shit, and I don't need to hear about it, and you're getting on my nerves. Look, I know you're my guitar player's brother, but I think you'd like be supportive of us talking about like you know when you're in a band, God only knows what you're gonna end up talking about. Like, how do you think songs get written? Anybody know? I'll give you a clue. Basically, you talk to your band members about shit, and perhaps sometimes when things resonate, somebody says, "Dude, that should totally be a song," or "Hey, dudette, that should totally be a song, right?" That's kind of how that works. Like you shouldn't be afraid to talk when you're at band practice. But this guy, he had just gotten out of prison. He was an ex-con, and I guess he spent too much time around the Aryan Brotherhood because he was still acting like he was in prison. It's like, motherfucker, if you miss the being a Nazi so much, why don't you go back to prison? Because like you're acting like a fucking like a gang member, a degenerate. You're acting like a bully. Like I was invited to be here, and I'm getting drunk with a fan. Like let me tell you how that works, okay? If people show up at band practice and they hang out and hear the music, and that's like happens more than once, they're basically fans. Like they don't have to know the names of all the songs. They don't have to know the lyrics. Like really, they don't have to even like it. They don't even have to like clap and go, yeah. Like just the fact that they recognize it when they hear it a second time, like like, oh, I know that song. You guys have been playing that for like a month now, right? That's a fan. They know. It's like when you're that like you know when you're that much of a garage band and not well known yet. Yeah, that's a fan. So I'm getting drunk with a fan and just like talking about shooting the shit. Ironically enough, a fan that had punched me before because they thought I was a racist because I said the N word out in public, but I was joking around in a self deprecating way, referring to myself as an N word. That's a bad habit that I can't seem to break. But when you get treated like an N word, and when you feel like an N word, a lot of times you refer to yourself as an N word, like casually, especially when you've knocked back a few. I digress. Anyways, we were getting along, like, it's kind of important to, like, make friends with people that have punched you. Like, either that or you're just gonna be bitter enemies for life, right? So, but this motherfucking, fucking neo-Nazi, Aryan supremacist motherfucker telling me I talk too much and blah, blah, blah. That I really need. And he even went so far, because I didn't stop. You can see the way I am. I don't stop. I'm just blah, 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 blah. So he actually tried to, like, play a competitive game. He says, hey, I'll play, I got a bet, alright? I'm gonna try to be quiet for half an hour, and if you can be quiet for half an hour, whoever slips up first gets, $5. And I was like, $5? I'll play that game, fuck yeah. You know I'm gonna win, right? Like, I don't have to talk, especially when there's money involved. At any rate, I did win. Like, he started talking way before I did. I was like, hmm? Mm-hmm. But, like, obviously it wasn't a real game. He just got tired of my voice and wanted me to be quiet. And he was trying to dominate me like some kind of a bully. Make me feel stupid, right? Like, I brought up the money. I'm like, so, was that a real bet? And he's just like, oh yeah, I gotta go to the laundromat and get some change. Don't worry about it. I'll get you on that. Yeah, yeah, right. And at some point, like, me and the fan were knocking back some, like, apple flavored vodka, and fucking Nazi boy asked me one more time. Actually asked, that's a strong word. He demanded one more time that I shut the fuck up. And I said, what the fuck are you gonna do about it, man? I can't stop. Do I look like I can stop? What are you gonna do? Come knock me out? Fine, come knock me out. I was like sitting on a couch like I am now. Dude, like, hops up out of bed onto his feet like a lightning bolt. Kawoom, boom, bam! Like, literally in that amount of time. Kawoom, woom, bam! I'm punched in the face. Head getting bounced off the wall like that. Rocked! Like, I mean, full fucking force. Then this guy worked out. Like I said, he was an ex-con. He probably had many a day where all he had to do was, like, bench presses. Okay? No video games, no recreational music. If there were any books to be read, probably already read them, or I don't know. They'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Probably likes reading Mein Kampf. Piece of shit. Anyways, yeah, so he rocks me, bam, head bounces off wall, and I mean, I'm feeling it. I tried to clench my teeth, but I had literally barely any time to react. I had enough sense to think to myself as my head's bouncing off the wall, I'm gonna go forward and lay on the ground and play possum because that was a total cheap shot and there's no way I'm fighting anybody right now. I just got my fucking skull rocked. Like, that's the last time you want to try to have a serious fight. At least that's the last time I want to try to have a serious fight, right? Mm-hmm. So, most people that were there believed I got knocked the fuck out. Really, I laid there kind of like in a light fetal position until I heard my guitar player come in the room because that was his little brother, and I figured that was his house. So the one person that might like have my back and be worried about my safety would be the guy that invited me over, like the guy that needed me to play bass in his band. So yeah, it only took probably 45 seconds because it made a lot of noise. Like him punching me and my head hitting the wall and my body going thud on the wooden floor. It made enough noise that my guitar player is like, "What the fuck's going on in there?" Like, huh? And like, he sees me laying on the ground and he's like, "What the fuck happened? Why is my bass player? What the?" And as soon as I heard him, I'm like hopping up and I'm grabbing my face, going and running to the bathroom because like I had a bunch of blood to spit out. Like I kind of wanted to wad up some paper and stick it in my mouth because it's a good way to stop the bleeding. But I also just wanted to get some water in there to like. I don't like the way blood tastes. You know? At any rate, yeah, I think I was smart. And I don't care if people think I got knocked out because I mean, I practically did. Um, I did close my eyes. It almost felt like I was knocked out. I just know how to play possum really good. Like I was conscious enough to hop up and go to the bathroom as soon as my guitar player walked in. So how knocked out do you think I was, huh? But yeah, what a dick, right? Like seriously, freedom of speech. Hello. Like I know you spent 3 years in the penitentiary. And that's ancient history. I haven't even been to that house in like 3 or 4 years. But that's just one of the more disturbing times I got punched in the face really hard. Sucker punched, and my head rocked against the wall. Not the first time, but yeah, just kind of one of the more disturbing times. Cause like he was kind of trying to be friendly about telling me to shut the fuck up, trying to suppress my voice. Like he's like, hey, let's play a game, blah blah blah. Let's zip our lips for as long as we can. And then the next thing I know, I'm getting assaulted. That's that's um that's a huge step. Like you'd almost expect like a few levels like of I don't know, uncomfortable altercation type like name calling or perhaps pushing and shoving or maybe like some kind of an escalating factor. Like it literally went from hey, let's play a game, shut the fuck up to hey, I'm gonna it was a really hard punch, you guys. I don't know if you know this. I have a little bit of defensive training. It's true. Um, I could teach you everything I know pretty quickly if you want to know how to like take a punch or maybe like how to survive a car accident or like I don't know, maybe how to avoid getting your arm broken if somebody's grabbing you by the wrist and trying to twist your arm like some kind of arm bar. I don't claim to be a tough guy. I really don't. Because I hate pain. And, like, if you claim to be a tough guy, guess what? That's the exact kind of thing that brings you pain and sometimes permanent injuries. It's like, unless you are an actual, like, professional tough guy, you really shouldn't be going around calling yourself a tough guy. I'm a pacifist. at the age of like, I think I turned 42 in a few weeks. So in my middle ages or whatever, I'm a 100% pacifist. I believe in self-defense, don't get me wrong. I think it's smart to like, I don't know. See, I've had enough confrontation, I've had enough experience to know that like pepper spray, guns, like knives, I mean the man, there's really no good defense. Or like it all kind of like if you have pepper spray in your pocket, you're probably gonna pull it out when it's too late. You know what I mean? And if you got a gun, guess what? You're probably gonna be accused of being the offender. You know, the troublemaker. Like you, unless you got witnesses that are gonna like certainly 100% say that you were defending yourself, you're not gonna get away with shooting anybody. Because a lot of times that shit happens like in the shadows, you know, like at night, like in a corner, you know. That's where bullies love to bully people, is in the corner. They'll fucking grab you by your shirt, drag you over to the corner, and if you pull out a gun and shoot them in the gut, guess what? You're probably gonna go to prison the rest of your life for killing somebody. So that's not a very good defense. Seriously. Sorry, I don't mean to get so worked up. It's just, um, and you know those like kung fu self-defense videos, you know, where they say if someone's grabbing you by the throat, you just bring your arms up like that and you can break the grip. Guess what? When people are strangling you, nobody does it with both hands. All right? Most of these people have muscles like pro wrestlers and they can do it just fine with one. All right? So that technique doesn't work. A lot of times they say in those defense videos to go for the eyes, poke them in the eyes, you know, before it gets too intense. You know, that's a good idea, but that takes like forethought, wherewithal. That takes like some kind of like here. I don't know what the right word is, but it's like if you're being strangled, that's about how well you're gonna poke somebody's eyes out. Okay? Did you see me holding the bottle? Like, yeah, I'm doing a better job of holding my little mini bottle than I'm doing a job of poking your eyes out, aren't I? That's kind of how that works. Because in a lot of these situations, you're not getting, like, think about it. Think about it. Unless you're a violent person, you're not going to be getting the first punch in. Okay? Like I just told you, I basically figured out that I'm a pacifist. I have been for a long time. I just wasn't a self-proclaimed one. But like I never would get the first punch. It's not like a fucking boxing match, people. It's like that's what it's like. Get it? It's not cool. It's not fair. And it kind of leaves you pissed off the rest of your life. Especially when it happens more than once. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to scare you. Hope I didn't hurt my camera. So, what's to be learned from this? Well, hypothetically, if you play video games and you have good hand-eye coordination, and hypothetically, if you can see that somebody's coming at you like that, if you're little Mac, all right, and freaking Honda or Flamenco or Hippo or Soda Popinski or hell, even like the Dream, Mr. Dream, or even like any of those fuckers are coming at you, and you can actually tell for a split second. My old man, he told me it was a good idea to tuck your chin into your shoulder. Because hypothetically, if you're getting your head rocked, like, it's not going to rattle around too much if you got it tucked into your shoulder. Like, not rattling around too much, is it? But if it's like that, that could do serious spinal damage. So try to tuck your chin into your shoulder before you get hit. And even after you get hit, if you think another one's coming, yeah, damn right. That's about a time to go fetal. Like, unless you're like really feeling ornery and you